Okay. A, a very good morning to all the eminent speakers and the lovely audience. We apologize for the delay because of the technical issues. So I am Dr. Nidhi Singhal. I am the Director of Global Institute of Technology and the coordinator of this HR-Conclave, which is on a theme Innovations in HR. This is the second HR-Conclave that GIP has been organizing this year. Thank you to every participant.
अच्छा दूसरा भेज दिया उन्होंने
When we think of innovation, we immediately assume this is about bringing in technology. Certainly in this age of digital, artificial intelligence and robots. The need for innovation in human resources is real. By human resources, I don't just mean the HR department, but everything that has to do with the interaction between organization and the people. I mean the innovation of the mindset towards HR, the innovation of the role of HR, and the innovation of its position within the organization. So I welcome you once again on this HR Conclave on the theme Innovations in HR. And for the proceedings of the inaugural session, I welcome Dr. Deepak Bhatia from Rajasthan Technical University, Kota. He is my co-host and the coordinator of this HR Conclave. Over to you, Deepak Bhatia, sir.
Sir, you're on mute. Kindly unmute your mic. Thank you.
Respected Honorable Vice Chancellor Professor R. Gupta sir, TechCube Coordinator Dhirendra Mathur sir, CEO Infosys Singapore Lakshmi Narayan ji, Naman ji, Nidhi ji, I welcome to all of you in this HR One Day HR Conclave. The HR Conclave on Innovation in HR aims to bring together India's influential thought leaders from various domains of the HR, were to share their views on emerging trends that are shaping the future of industry. The 2020 edition of HR Conclave will provide an engaging and exciting platform for professional practitioners, academicians, and students. There will be two panel sessions, first on future of work, redefining the workplace, and another on redefining diversity and inclusion, building a more inclusive organizations. Conclave serves as great platform for knowledge sharing and co-creation between academia and industry. Each year, RTU conducts different conclaves where leaders from different areas deliver keynote speeches, participates in different panel discussions, and conduct area-specific workshops. These have proved to be a fountainhead of ideas with superb participation from the industry, academia, and students. Fortunately, there are many success stories floating on top of the flood waters of negativity. If we carefully observe the messages from the pulpit of COVID-free country like New Zealand and the worst hit country United States of America, one can note a striking similarity in tone of the message despite the situations on the ground. They are mostly talking positively about the strengths, their quick response capabilities, and their success stories in multiple sectors, and downplaying the impact of COVID-19. In this HR Conclave, we have called several eminent speakers, Mr. Lakshmi Narayan from Infosys. He is Vice President. Mr. Vinay Agrawal from Tech Mahindra, Global Head Business HR. Mr. Sudhanshu Gupta, Entity Senior Director Talent Transformation. Mr. Maqsood Sheikh, Senior Manager HR. Mr. Mayank Gupta, Mr. Rajkumar. So we have several eminent speakers. I congratulate the whole team of Global for organizing such a wonderful event, and I think this will be very, very useful for the students and faculty. So I congratulate once again the whole team of Global Institute of Technology on the behalf of Rajasthan Technical University TechUp, and I hope in future we will organize such type of wonderful event once again. Thank you. Now I want to hand over to Mr. Naman. Mr. Naman.
Good morning, sir. Thank you very much for your wonderful introduction to the session. So I welcome everybody gathered here today, and I sincerely thank Professor Ari Gupta, sir, our VC at RTU Kota. His guidance and support has been tremendous, and we've seen flourishing events and programs such as the one hosted today at GIT. And I also would like to thank Dr. Mathur. He is the TechWhip coordinator for RTU and also the coordinator for exams. And he's a very busy man, I always like to say, but he's very kind enough to always make time and make himself available at the inaugurals of these functions. My heartiest welcome also goes to Mr. Bhatia, Dr. Bhatia, sorry. He's the coordinator for the HR-Conclave events conducted under RTU TechWhip. And thank you, sir, for taking time out and being present here today. Today's session is going to be a wonderful program on innovations in HR, the future of the workforce, and on how to become a more inclusive and diverse organization. Now, as always, I'd like to share just a couple of points that I believe are relevant to the session and the topic today. First and foremost, I think within India, it was Infosys, but at a global stage, I'm not really sure which company started the trend of ESOPs, which is employee stakeholder ownership programs, employee stock ownership programs. So that was one of those innovations in HR, which truly aligned the target and the focus of the entire organization towards growth. The owners, the promoters, all shareholders, and also the employees were winners when the company did better. This had a major influence on how companies were run and the organizational, the hierarchical structure of these large corporate houses, because this had such a major impact on efficiency and productivity of employees that I read a study once that said that it had a similar impact on the global economy as did the first assembly line manufacturing that Ford started with the Model T. So HR innovations are sometimes ignored as being irrelevant, and the sessions mostly focus on ideas of how to increase efficiency without actually being innovative at the core. And I do hope that today's panel discussions lead to some fruitful suggestions on how educational institutes can align the goals of the management, the goals of the parents, the students, as well as the teachers and other staff members on the same common target. We need to be working as a team rather than as a group. And I do believe that most educational institutes struggle with aligning these goals between the different stakeholders. So innovation and future of HR in educational institutes needs a change drastically, and I hope that this panel discussion can shed some light on the same. So thank you for being present here today, Professor Gupta sir, Professor Mathur, and Professor Bhatia ji. I also thank Dr. Nidhi Singhal for getting a great panel of experts on today's session. And I wish all the audience members a wonderful time ahead. I hope you enjoy this session and get some learnings out of the same. Thank you.
Thank you, Namanji. Thank you, Namanji. So RTU is organizing such type of multiple events in these days. Faculty development programs, HR conclaves, hackathons. This is the vision of our energetic Vice Chancellor, sir. And with the help of his team, RTU is able to organize such type of events. And the key person of the TechUp is with us, Professor Dhirendra Mathur, sir. So I would like to call Dhirendra Mathur, sir, for his words of wisdom.
Thank you, Deepak ji, for inviting me to this one-day HR-Conclave. Very good morning to everyone. Respected Honorable Vice Chancellor Sahab, Arya Gupta Sahab, जिनकी की गाइडेंस में हम लोग ये टेक्यूब की सारी एक्टिविटीज़ कर रहे हैं और वर्चुअल मोड में सभी एक्टिविटीज़ हम लोग कर रहे हैं और पेंडेमिक में जो क्राइसिस है उसमें हम समय का, टाइम का और हमारे रिसोर्सेज का पूरा उपयोग कर पा रहे हैं. Definitely the directions and guidance of our Honorable Vice Chancellor Sir definitely is helping us, all of us, we at RTU and all the affiliating colleges, directors, principals, all are getting kind of motivation and inspiration to keep our work going on. I also welcome today's eminent speaker, CEO of Infosys Singapore, Lakshmi Narayan ji, for joining us today, and Naman Kandoi ji, who is in charge of GIT and always very active in executing all the plans of TechCube 3 and getting the activities executed. Dr. Nidhi Singhal, today's host of this event from GIT, and all the participants and all other eminent speakers who shall be joining in today's morning after this inaugural session. We have been thinking of organizing HR meet or HR conclave, which can be called, in these TechCube 3 activities, but somehow the plans could not be executed previously. And now in this virtual mode, we are really happy that we are able to initiate this activity, which is very important from the point of view of bridging the gap between the academia and the industries. Because I think you will agree with me that whatever activities we do, academic activities, all other activities, ultimately that leads to the enhancement of employability of our students and making and getting more and more students placed after they pass out from here. I think most the more the number of campus, we all are really happy and we feel that whatever we are doing is fruitful. तो हमारे बच्चों को एम्प्लॉयबल बनाना और ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा बच्चों को प्लेस करना, ये अल्टीमेटली हमारे सभी एक्टिविटीज का गोल है. And to meet our goals, it is important that we should keep on interacting with the industry and bridging the gap and understanding the role of industry and also understanding what role they want from academia to play so that the students become employable. And it is only possible through the activities like this, HR Meet, HR-Conclave, and inviting more and more industries to our campus, visiting their campus. And that really lead to all our employability pursuits, all the activities which we execute. So I really congratulate Deepak ji and GIT for hosting this one-day HR meet today and inviting eminent executive officers, executive people from eminent industries today, and for the benefit of the students and the faculty members of RTU affiliated colleges. I hope that this event shall be extremely useful in the end, and the panel discussions shall benefit all of us, all the stakeholders, and will really help us in moving ahead in our pursuit of making our students employable, bridging the gap between the academia and industries. I wish a great success to this event and wish many more such events to be organized under TechCube 3 and umbrella of RTU quota. Thank you very much. Over to you, Deepak ji.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. So we are I am very thankful to our Honorable Vice Chancellor and Professor Dhirendra Mathur, sir. It is my luck that I am working in the leadership of these two best person in the Rajasthan Technical University quota, not in Rajasthan Technical University quota, in Rajasthan also. So today we have one more eminent young speaker with us, Shipra, Engineer Shipra. He is Senior Global Sales and Marketing Manager, Autonomy IO India. And in this present negative COVID scenario, which looks completely disoriented and is a far bigger challenge than fending against a scenario that is impossible to connect with unless we deal with present. There is an urgent necessity to revive the workplace and the people before everything gets out of control. So the first need is to infuse confidence in people about their positive capabilities to deal with the present and filter out the acquisition of lacking skill to survive. The negative inertia must be broken fast. So we need to stop worrying and get going. And today we have such young people with us. So now I would like to invite Engineer Shipra. I welcome in this HR-Conclave Engineer Shipra. So kindly bless the students with your energetic words. Engineer Shipra. So kindly unmute. Kindly unmute, ma'am.
Is it audible now?
Yes, yes. Kindly show your video also, ma'am.
Yeah, am I visible now?
Yeah, you are visible.
Right.
Yeah. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, everyone. And thank you for inviting me to the event today. And I extend my warm regards to Honorable Vice Chancellor of RTU, Professor Gupta, all the industry experts who are gracing the event. I'm also very thankful to all the hosts, Dr. Singhal, Mr. Kandoi, Dr. Mathur, Dr. Bhatia, for providing me this wonderful opportunity to interact with all the eminent people from industry, also with the students and the teachers. I feel it's a very, very wonderful platform. And I'm very, very excited to be here. And there are two very distinct reasons to be very excited to be a part of such an event. So the first reason that I'm very, very excited to be participating in this event is that I am an alumni of RTU. And which makes it very exciting to be, being on the other side of the table and interacting with these students. While I was a student a few years ago, a few years is it's too less actually to say, but around 15 years ago, I was a part of RTU as a student. Today, I am here with everyone interacting on the other side of the table. Also, I feel that it is a very interesting topic for the discussion, the HR innovations. So while this topic came my way, I was thinking, why are we actually talking about this topic? And then I got to thinking, and I feel that in today's business scenarios, there is a lot of dynamism that has come up with the technology, and the technology is incredibly changing the world, and it's really, really fast. You blink your eyes and then the technology stares in your new technology stares in your face. And this rapid change of technology that is happening, that is enough to, make your head spin. So the speed of technology evolution today really, really calls for very, very hyper agility in terms of people and processes that are there as a part of our organizations. So when we talk about technology and people, technology is just an enabler. It is not an elixir of any corporate life. Up until a few years ago, let's say, I would say like 5 or 6 years ago, most of these organizations were human-centric. And then, with the rate of change that happened according to the technological advances that came, the changes were bigger and bolder. And that really happened in a very short period of time. It was a very short span of time when these changes were happening. And it were such changes that it eventually became, a dominant part of our conversations in the boardroom conversations, or even our day-to-day lives. Imagine we are talking about Zoom meetings all the time. We are talking about, connecting with people in different parts of the world over different parts of the time zone, in different time zones. So it has become a predominant part of our conversations in our daily lives also. And to an extent that, until certain years ago, we used to see that human concerns were considerably separate from the technological concerns, if not like, in the direct conflict with each other. But today the organizations are challenged to rethink, re-examine, and relook at, whether humanity and technology are they in conflict with each other, or there are possibilities to resolve this seemingly or appearingly, the paradox of finding ways to remain in the technologically advanced world as human as possible. So as I see that, we have evolved over years and we have come a long distance, but it is a difficult kind of a time with at least COVID, which like it is a situation that has struck all over the world. And it has changed the way we used to look at businesses and the way we could separate the humans with technology. Today, I think they go hand in hand. So COVID-19 has reinforced my conviction that human concerns are not very separate from technological advances at all. And the way, as the organizations look to adapt their ways of working in response to this crisis, it is also astounding to know that technology is not it is not one of the greatest challenges that the organizations are facing. What is the bigger challenge is, or biggest barrier that is there is to build models, or build systems or processes to integrate humans with those technologies, or to create new habits or new patterns or new management practices for how will people adapt and behave or work in partnership with the technology available to them. Or the challenge could be like to fulfill the distinct human needs, such as desire of meaning, sense of belongingness to a workplace, or being part of a connection, or general well-being at workplace, or cultivation of capabilities, or safeguarding the ethical values. All these things have become very challenging in the given times, because we are not. It's the times have changed. It's not like I'm sitting in the office, you're sitting in the office, and we could walk up to each other and say, "Hey, this is a problem. Can we come to a solution? Can we solve this problem?" Things have changed, and of course, things have changed drastically. But I also feel that this crisis that we are going through has also presented us with a unique opportunity to overcome the instinct of treating humans and machines in a parallel world. Instead, it has given us an opportunity to come together, build connections, and see a way forward where we can, nurture the growth and innovation. Today, the barriers are not big when I have to pick up my laptop and connect with people across the globe. It has become very, very easy. Everything has come to my doorstep. So the path forward is, when we we actually go hand in hand with technology. And that is where, in the response to these changes that are happening currently, the HR needs to up its game. They need to revisit the kind of strategies that they had, the processes that they had, the kind of storytelling that they had. They need to refocus on the whole situation, refocus the lens on how they look at their own functions, how they look at their internal customers, which are the employees, and how would they meet the needs of today's workforce. Because I really feel without focusing on the people and how they will interact with the technological change, the buy-in to the technology, putting all those superhuman efforts to reinvent the processes that would affect the people who are employed with you is a waste of money that you put on the technology, waste of time, and it's only going to result in frustrations. So going forward, it's just going to be people, process, technology, and we all have to work together. This is the only equation that will work. And I feel like in the scenario, just the way Mr. Kandoi was saying, that how can we, change the scenario for the students when they become, or Mr. Mathur was saying that how can we make them more employable? I feel that in the true sense, it's just not a job of HR of an organization, but also a job of a student and also their teachers to see that what are the current innovations and technologies that are happening around the globe, and how can we interact with the people outside, bring them to the doorstep to our children, and let them experience the world-class education to open up to the opportunities that can be there for them tomorrow. For an example, there can be courses that could be organized while, of course, we all are sitting at distances. We can invite professors from other universities to speak for them on different kind of technologies that students from the globe are learning. Or it could be, a virtual tour of maybe some industries that can be, part of a curriculum. Because of course, like COVID has posed this situation where we can't, like in groups or bunches, go here and there. But we can, of course, take technology, the advantage of technology, and move around and see if we could do the virtual tours of industries, if we could virtually understand certain processes, if we could be part of bigger picture of which is like the future workplaces. Can we see them? Can we know how to interact or be more relevant to the current system? But I would leave you with this thought. But before I end, I really feel that this year has been exceptionally tough for everyone. Because when we entered January 2020, we did not see this situation coming in. And by March, we were like homebound. And then May, we started to move out again. So this year has been exceptionally tough for everyone. People have been multitasking with their families. They've been working around the clock between the hours. And it has been tough. So I also feel with all the innovations that we talk and all the technology we talk about, it's very important to have that human touch. And it's very important to develop that. And we have to be more compassionate towards each other, because, we all are multitasking in our current situations. And we have to be more accommodative to our fellow members or colleagues, in a larger perspective. So I am really, really thankful again, and I'm really excited to listen to the viewpoints of everyone who is going to be here on the panels or as presenters, or even I'd like to see the feedbacks and also questions from the students. It's going to be an interesting session for me, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
Thanks, Shipra ma'am. And thanks to our Honorable Vice Chancellor sir also. So I have included in our team, and I will call you in our futures event multiple times. So I think our students get benefited with your wonderful speech. So thanks, Shipra ma'am, once again. And
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
when I looked your on your CV, then you have worked for such prestigious companies like Sterlite Technologies, L&T. So students definitely gets benefited with your wide experience. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. So we will call you once again, multiple time in our future activities. So be prepared, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Pleasure being a part of the event.
Now it is time for us to hear our energetic and I cannot explain his experience, his wide experience on different posts. So Professor Ari Gupta, our Vice Chancellor, is with us. So, sir, thank you. Thank you. First, I would like to give thanks for sparing time for us. So kindly bless us, sir.
Yeah, good morning, Professor Bhatia.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Actually, I am in my car and I am moving to Jaipur.
Yes, sir.
But it's really great advantage of technology that I am able to connect all while I am moving to Jaipur. So, thank you very much, Professor Dhirendra Mathur and other professors from RTU. Naman Kandoi is really young and dynamic person, and when he came to me first time, at the same day I realized that this man will do something good for technical education. Then Shipra Gupta, she gave a lot of things regarding this HR-Conclave and the current scenario in pandemic situation, what is going on. Other panelists, learned panelists, what can I say? Actually, अभी जो टाइम जो चल रहा है उसमें अभी इतने सारे पैरामीटर्स पे हम वर्क कर रहे हैं. देयर आर सो मेनी पैरामीटर्स और इतना रैपिडली चेंज हो रहा है कि हम लोगों को, इवन प्रोफेसर्स को भी ये समझना मुश्किल हो रहा है कि किस स्पीड से हम काम करें. तो हमारे स्टूडेंट्स डेफिनेटली बहुत डिफिकल्टीज आ रही हैं. अभी हम स्टूडेंट से बात करना चाहते हैं कि उनको ऑनलाइन कंटेंट भी देना चाहते हैं, ऑनलाइन स्टडी भी करवाना चाहते हैं और टेक्नोलॉजी अवेलेबल भी है, पर टेक्नोलॉजी इतनी कहीं पे अवेलेबल है, कहीं पे अवेलेबल नहीं है. स्टूडेंट्स आर बेसिकली फ्रॉम विलेजेस, उनको इंटरनेट फैसिलिटी नहीं मिल रही है, वो अलग पेन में है. और आरटीयू अलग पेन में, क्योंकि आरटीयू को कंटेंट देना है. तो ये सारी चीजें बहुत मुश्किल से मैनेज हो पा रही हैं. इसके बावजूद आरटीयू में प्रोफेसर धीरेन्द्र माथुर टेक्यूब में इन्होंने इतनी सारी एक्टिविटी अभी करवा रहे हैं. ये हैकाथॉन हमने करवाया है, सेमिनार्स हम करवा रहे हैं, फैकल्टी डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम हम करवा रहे हैं, एचआर कॉन्क्लेव करवा रहे हैं, स्टूडेंट्स के साथ में डिफरेंट एक्टिविटी हम करवा रहे हैं. अभी आज एक एडवर्टाइजमेंट राजस्थान पत्रिका में अगर किसी ने देखा हो कि हमने एक पूल बनाया है एक्सपर्ट्स फैकल्टी मेंबर्स का, और वो एक्सपर्ट फैकल्टी मेंबर्स जो है अच्छी बुक्स को कंसल्ट करके और एक लेक्चर नोट्स बनाएंगे और उसी सिलेबस पे बनाएंगे जो सिलेबस हम पढ़ा रहे हैं. और वो जो एक्सपर्ट टॉक्स होगी वो हमारे स्टूडेंट को भी अवेलेबल होगी और हमारे फैकल्टी मेंबर्स जो भी क्लास करवाएंगे उनको भी अवेलेबल होगी. तो ये कंटेंट हम अभी इसमें सबसे एडवांटेज क्या हो रहा है कि सपोज वी आर हैविंग 100 इंजीनियरिंग कॉलेजेस इन राजस्थान, और इन 100 कॉलेजेस में अगर हमारे पास 20 मोस्ट एक्सपर्ट्स हर सब्जेक्ट के अवेलेबल हैं, तो उनके नोट्स सभी कॉलेजेस के सभी टीचर्स को और सभी स्टूडेंट्स को अवेलेबल हो जाएंगे। तो आप देखिए कि हमारे बेस्ट टीचर अगर मान लो सपोज एक इंस्टीट्यूट में है, तो उनके टॉक्स सभी कॉलेजेस के बच्चों को अवेलेबल हैं। एंड वी आर नॉट चार्जिंग एनी मनी एंड वी आर नॉट पेइंग एनी मनी टू ऑल दीज एक्सपर्ट्स। उसके अलावा अभी एक और काम कर रहे हैं कि हमारे जितने भी कॉलेजेस हैं जो हमारे साथ एफिलिएटेड हैं, हर कॉलेज में कोई न कोई ऐसी सेंटर ऑफ एक्सीलेंस अवेलेबल है जो कि दूसरी कॉलेज में नहीं है। तो अगर हम इसको ऐसा सोचे कि सपोज एक ही सेंटर ऑफ एक्सीलेंस एक कॉलेज में है और उसी के स्टूडेंट उसका एडवांटेज ले रहे हैं, तो हम अपने रिसोर्सेज को पूरी तरह से यूटिलाइज नहीं कर रहे। तो हमने इस पे भी अभी काम करना शुरू कर दिया है और सभी इंस्टीट्यूट से हमने सेंटर ऑफ एक्सीलेंस जहां पे भी है उनसे एप्लीकेशन इनवाइट की है और उन एप्लीकेशंस को इनवाइट करके और इनको हम बेसिकली विजिट करेंगे, इनको देखेंगे कि ये सेंटर ऑफ एक्सीलेंस किस लेवल के हैं और फिर इनको ओपन कर देंगे पूरे कॉलेजेस के लिए। सपोज वी हैव 20 सेंटर ऑफ एक्सीलेंसेज इन डिफरेंट कॉलेजेस। नाउ these 20 सेंटर ऑफ एक्सीलेंसेज आर अवेलेबल टू ऑल द 100 कॉलेजेस। सभी स्टूडेंट्स किसी भी सेंटर पे जाकर के वो अपना रिसर्च वर्क कर सकते हैं, अपना प्रोजेक्ट वर्क कर सकते हैं और उसको RTU जो है उसको रिकॉग्नाइज भी करेगा और उसके लिए सर्टिफिकेट भी देगा। ये वर्क ऑलरेडी हम स्टार्ट कर चुके हैं। अभी इन कमिंग टाइम ये न्यूज अखबार में आने वाली है और ये सेंटर ऑफ एक्सीलेंस सभी के लिए अवेलेबल होंगे। तो आप देखिए कि इतने सारे काम हम लोग कर रहे हैं और राजस्थान टेक्निकल यूनिवर्सिटी थोड़े समय में ही हम लोगों ने बहुत सारे काम किए हैं और आने वाले टाइम में हम ये सारे जो वर्क करने वाले हैं और जिसमें हमारे बेसिकली कोचेज हम बढ़ाते जा रहे हैं, हमारी ट्रेनिंग है। अब हम बहुत सारे कोच जोड़ चले जा रहे हैं, डिफरेंट एफिलिएटेड कॉलेजेस को हम कनेक्ट कर रहे हैं। तो आने वाले टाइम में वंडरफुल टेक्निकल एजुकेशन राजस्थान में अवेलेबल होगी और जो भी हमारे हैं उनकी बेसिकली एम्प्लॉयबिलिटी बढ़ेगी और वर्ल्ड वाइड उनको रिकॉग्निशन भी मिलेगी। तो हम बेसिकली अभी राजस्थान से बाहर निकल रहे हैं और इंडिया लेवल पे हम लोग जा रहे हैं और इंटरनेशनल लेवल पे हम लोग जाने वाले हैं। और मैं ये देख रहा हूं कि जिस तरीके से हम काम कर रहे हैं हो सकता है आने वाले टाइम में जितने भी स्टूडेंट्स हम सोच रहे थे कि ये आउट ऑफ राजस्थान साउथ में चले जाते हैं, सारे स्टूडेंट हम जो राजस्थान के हैं वो तो हमारे साथ स्टे करेंगे ही और हम आउट ऑफ राजस्थान जैसे साउथ से भी स्टूडेंट्स को हम इनवाइट करेंगे कि वो राजस्थान में आए और यहाँ वर्क करें। तो इस तरीके से हम इस टेक्निकल एजुकेशन को बहुत ऊपर लेके जाने वाले हैं। देखिए पेंडेमिक सिचुएशन हमारे लिए एक जो है बहुत ही अच्छा टाइम है कि इसमें जो है हम लोगों को ज्यादा मौका मिल रहा है। एक अपॉर्चुनिटी हमारे लिए बन गई है कि जो एक्सपर्ट्स जिनको हम कभी सोचते थे कभी सुनेंगे, आज एवरीडे हम लोग उनसे इंटरेक्ट कर रहे हैं। कभी हम कहते थे स्टूडेंट से कि आपको अच्छा लिटरेचर पढ़ना चाहिए, ये मूक्स पे अवेलेबल है, स्वयं पे अवेलेबल है और अच्छी वर्ल्ड वाइड लाइब्रेरी में अवेलेबल है। हम उसकी बात करते थे लेकिन उसको पढ़ते नहीं थे। अभी इस सिचुएशन में जो ये ऑनलाइन हमारा शुरू हुआ तो इतना तेजी से रैपिडली हम लोगों ने उससे कनेक्ट करना शुरू किया। आज कोई भी स्पीकर यूएस में है, कनाडा में है और से सिप्रा गुप्ता मे बी इन दिल्ली और कोई और जो हमारे पैनलिस्ट हैं, कोई सपोज कोई मद्रास में है, कोई अच्छी इन्फोसिस में है, आज सब अवेलेबल है। और ये इतनी तेजी से हम लोगों ने इसको पकड़ा है, इतने तेजी से हमने इसको लर्न किया है कि अभी लगता नहीं है। और बेसिकली ये स्पीड इतनी हाई हो गई है कि कभी कभी तो लगता है कि हमारा माइंड और बॉडी दोनों डिफरेंट स्पीड पे काम करने लगे हैं। माइंड इज वर्किंग वेरी फास्ट एंड बॉडी इज एक्सपेक्टिंग लिटिल स्लो। तो बहुत तेजी से हम लोग सोचने लगे हैं, लेकिन आई एम श्योर कि ये स्पीड भी हम पकड़ लेंगे। और मैं सोचता हूं कि ये एक बहुत अच्छा लर्निंग प्लेटफॉर्म हम लोगों को मिला है। आई एम रियली वांट टू थैंकफुल टू माय टीम, प्रोफेसर धीरेन्द्र माथुर, प्रोफेसर दीपक भाटिया एंड मिस्टर हरीश एंड पारिक, ये लोग बहुत तेजी से इस पे काम कर रहे हैं। नए नए टॉपिक्स भी ये सर्च करके लाते हैं। कभी ये बेसिकली एचआर कॉन्क्लेव पे काम करते हैं, कभी हैकाथॉन पे काम करते हैं, कभी बेसिकली जेंडर इक्वलिटी पे काम कर रहे हैं, कभी बेसिकली वुमेन्स बेसिकली एम्पावरमेंट पे काम कर रहे हैं। तो हर टॉपिक पे हम लोग जो है बात कर रहे हैं। इससे भी हमारे स्टूडेंट्स की लर्निंग बढ़ती है। देखिए, हम रिसर्च पे भी बात कर रहे हैं कि रिसर्च कंपोनेंट को हम किस तरह से बढ़ाएं। हम जो है क्वालिटी पब्लिकेशन पे बात कर रहे हैं, और क्वालिटी पब्लिकेशन पे काम करते वक्त हमारे रिसर्च स्कॉलर्स जो है डिफरेंट प्रोजेक्ट्स पे काम करते हैं। तो देखिए, रिसर्च जब बढ़ती है तो उसका नॉलेज बढ़ता है, और नॉलेज बढ़ती है तो फिर एकेडमिक्स बढ़ता है। ये एक साइकिल है। और अब कि एकेडमिक्स पे काम करते करते हम लोग रिसर्च पे काम करना इसलिए जरूरी है कि एकेडमिक्स से डेफिनेटली हम इंस्टीट्यूट में जो है स्टूडेंट का डेवलपमेंट करते हैं, पर रिसर्च से हमारी रिकॉग्निशन होती है आउट ऑफ द इंस्टीट्यूट एट नेशनल एंड इंटरनेशनल लेवल। तो हमको उस पर भी काम करना है। इसके लिए आरटीयू में हमने बहुत सारे रिसर्च हब बनाया है, जिसमें नैनो टेक्नोलॉजी पे हम काम कर रहे हैं, रोबोटिक्स पे हम काम कर रहे हैं, इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल्स पे हम काम कर रहे हैं, इनकी बड़ी बड़ी लैब हम बना रहे हैं। और ये सारे जो है जो हमारे सेंटर ऑफ एक्सीलेंस है, हम सारे स्टूडेंट्स को एफिलिएटेड कॉलेजेस को ओपन करने वाले हैं। तो ये सब कंटेंट्स यहाँ पे हम देंगे, और इससे स्टूडेंट्स को रिसर्च करने का मौका मिलेगा, प्रोजेक्ट करने का मौका मिलेगा। तो मुझे लगता है कि आने वाले 6 महीने में, 8 महीने में तो शायद हम लोग आरटी को पता नहीं कहां से कहां लेके जाने वाले हैं। मैं तो बहुत एक्साइटेड हूं, और आई थिंक आई एम द यंगेस्ट वन इन दिस क्राउड जो कि इतनी तेजी से सोच रहा है और काम कर रहा है। तो थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर इनवाइटिंग मी। एंड नमन, मैं ये मान के चलता हूं कि तुम जो कर रहे हो बहुत अच्छा काम कर रहे हो, और इंजीनियरिंग एजुकेशन में तुम्हारे जैसे यंग डायनेमिक बेसिकली प्रोफेशनल्स की जरूरत है। एंड ऐसे लोगों को आप इनवाइट करते रहिए जो कि इंडस्ट्रीज में है, कंपनीज में है, लाइक शिप्रा गुप्ता। ये लोग हमको वो बातें बताते हैं जो आज वहाँ इंडस्ट्रीज में हो रहा है, और इससे हमारे स्टूडेंट्स को बहुत बेनिफिट मिलेगा और उनकी लर्निंग फास्ट होगी। थैंक यू वेरी मच। थैंक यू दीपक फॉर इनवाइटिंग मी, एंड you will invite me again in some other activities. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. It is your energy that you are in the travel and you are addressing, sir. Sir, we are very thankful to you. कि आपकी लीडरशिप ही है कि सर हम इस पेंडेमिक कोविड-19 के क्राइसिस पीरियड में भी हम इसको अपॉर्चुनिटी की तरह ले रहे हैं, और आरटीयू इज गेटिंग न्यू डायमेंशंस इन टेक्निकल एजुकेशन। थैंक यू सो मच, सर। Dr. Lakshmi Narayan with us. He is from Infosys, and I think his words of wisdom on this holy day will bless the students, and students gets benefited with his vision towards the placement, recruitment, and about the technology. So now I would like to invite Lakshmi Narayan ji. Sir, thank you for coming here and addressing the students. So kindly, please, sir.
Good morning, everybody. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, you can hear. We can hear, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, and my pleasure and honor to be a part of this great conclave. And before I begin, I have to thank all the esteemed academicians here, which I just heard. My thanks to Dr. Nidhi, who have been interacting with me to get this done, and all the great academicians I heard just now, Dr. Deepak, yourself, Dr. Mathur and Gupta. And it's actually a pleasure to interact with the academics, because that is where we build the skills. Okay, so I'm certainly when it comes to motivating students, I personally always believed that it is academic professionals who can do it the best. It is they have the right understanding of the students, what makes them competent, and what drives them to deliver. So as industry professionals, of course, we can bring in some perspectives, but it is my always I have considered that it is academicians who are the crucible. It is the crucible where the talents are created, and it's great to see that in India we are also there are more and more closer participation between collaboration between the industry and academia, which is very important for any country. If you look at the foreign countries, the interaction between academics and industry is at a much higher level, and it's good to see that we are doing it more and more, and that is what will benefit our future talent pool. And the most important thing which we all have to recognize, and we all have to recognize and try to take advantage of, is that we as India, as all of you will know by now, has one of the we are in a unique sweet spot. As you all know, we have the youngest, we have the greatest demographic advantage in the world. We are the youngest nation. We have the largest talent pool in the world, right? We all know that. And this kind of a sweet spot, this kind of an opportunity will not come to many countries. Once in a civilization this comes. Probably we were like this some thousands of years ago when our great ancients delivered classics like Yoga Sutra, right? So after that, this is probably we are getting into a phase where India is in a center stage. We have the largest young population in the world, and one out of the four global youngsters are Indians working among the working population. And this is a situation we have to leverage effectively. And we also need to be very conscious of the fact that this has a shelf life, right? This will go away in probably 10 years if we don't leverage this and convert all our young population to be skilled professionals in the wide variety of areas, not only technology, not only engineering, not only I just want to reinforce the fact that we all, yes, it is a technological world, and we are all probably more obsessed with technology. And you may be wondering why a guy from the technology industry is telling this, but I really want to say that while technology has become a backbone for many of the professions and industries, the core industry is also very important. We need to talk about areas like even as good as farming. We need to talk about non-conventional energy resources. We need to talk about architecture. We need to talk about medicine. We need to talk about health and wellness. We need to talk about all those areas where there is a great deal of contribution needed for the new world, and it is our young population which we need to develop talents in all these areas. And of technology, what has become is technology has become a backbone for all these areas. So whether you are in the business of food production, or whether you are in the area of non-conventional energy resources, or whether you are in the area of retail, or whether you are in the area of medicine, pharmaceuticals, any of these areas requires that you have a certain level of technological knowledge and ability to sell your products and services. That is what the new world has really come into. And that is what our young generation students have to understand, that and acquire this. So that's just a broad thought process I want to set. And before I really get into, I had just quickly put up together some points which I thought I should convey in this session, so that our students have a takeaway. There is enough motivation talk. You academicians are definitely much better than industry people on that, and also Google has ensured that everybody has in their fingertips all the kind of motivation talk you need. So what I want to kind of focus here is to touch upon certain aspects of employability, and that I heard it repeatedly among all the great delegates who talked before me. Yes, that is the keyword. Employability is the keyword. And I have certain perspectives based on my experience and my research, which I have put together here, and I would like to share that. So I'm just sharing my screen, and I will walk you through that. I may not find time to complete all that, so I have shared this with Dr. Niti, and you can take it from her. So I'm trying to share the screen, and let me know whether you are able to see it. Okay. Hope all of you are able to see the screen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Good. So
We can see.
thank you very much. And I think this, I would like to not only guide my thoughts, but also share a few things to the students here of what I would like to talk on this area. So yes, as all of you know already, we are in a VUCA world. We were always in a VUCA world. Probably we were in the VUCA world for the last little close to 5 to 7 years. It was always VUCA. We were getting to know the signals of how industry is volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. What has happened is this COVID has created an extra layer of complexity in already which was a very complex world. That is what has happened. What has COVID done is very simple. Whatever we were anyway planning, at least in the technological industry, we were anyway, the things were changing at such a rapid pace. Technologies were changing every year almost. And the way people will work were also changing. We were moving from a conventional workforce to a gig workforce. And there was always this thought that people will, a great percentage of the people will anyway work from home. Companies will become more or less virtual very quickly. All this was already there. We were knowing about it at least a couple of years ago. If you had, if all of you have looked at the way the research material was coming, the articles were coming, the World Economic Forum in the last couple of years were having the same subject, the future of work. If all of you had read about it, and different dimensions and perspectives were being brought up. What COVID created is whatever we were planning to achieve in probably 3 to 5 years, at least in the IT industry, I can say that we were probably planning to migrate our workforce to be multi-locational, and in probably 3 to 5 years, had to be done in 6 months' time with no flexibilities. As Dr. Shipra said a little earlier, January 2020, we did not know this. And March, we had no option. We had to get all our people back into wherever they were, but we had to continue our work. We could not let the commitments we had given to the clients. Work has to go on. And so that was like an unexpected thing. And I personally feel, in spite of all the complications and challenges, we did it fairly well. At least I can talk on behalf of the technology industry, the IT services and technology industry. I know there are other industries which suffered. I respect it. They couldn't, the work got disrupted, and people had to struggle. Jobs were lost, businesses were lost. I understand that. But in spite of that, at least from a technology industry, we could migrate it without much of a struggle. I don't think whatever trends we had, there were some delays in the projects, but we didn't suffer much. And this was the way. And even one important thing for all the students here is recruitment plans may have got delayed a little bit, but it is certainly on there. So the industry still needs a lot of people. The only thing, what kind of people we need is what I'm going to talk a little bit about it now, and what kind of competencies are expected, right? And so I just want to start with certain baseline understandings so that all the students here understand what is it is something like if you're going for a swimming, whether you're going for a swimming in a swimming pool or whether you're going to swim in a sea, you got to understand the environment has changed a little bit. So the trends which are affecting the workforce now is earlier there were a set of thinkers. I'm talking about the quite a few years, 5-7 years ago. Things have changed. We are expecting people to be doers and thinkers. Means, example, students who join the companies very quickly has to start adding value from a thought process, because transactional work is no longer going to keep the job. Earlier, a couple of years ago, maybe if there is a 100-line code or some code has to be tested, we needed some people. Most of it has got automated. So what students have to do is to see what is client expecting, what can I create new, how can you create a new user experience if you're using and developing an application. Sorry, I keep in this whole discussion I'm going to keep referencing to some jargons which is more familiar to the technology industry. I'm sorry about it because that's where I come from, but I'm sure you should be able to reflect that and use it in other industries as well, right? So assets were earlier things, and now assets are people. You don't need asset at all. We are going to see companies which are completely virtual, no real estate. And we are going to see companies, people working together, networked with the technology and creating products and services. That is the reality already. Labor is people are obviously an investments, because the more and more investments are going to upskill and reskill people. I will talk about it. There is obviously no concept of lifetime employment. We are not there was a generation which worked most of their years in one company, and what they call a psychological contract. The psychological contract between the company and the employees was that the company would provide a lifetime employment, and the employees would provide their loyalty and service. That is no longer relevant anymore. Employees have to have the skills to be employable and keep themselves employable, and wherever they are, where their skills are effectively used and they get benefit, the employees will move on. So the question of lifetime employment is completely fossil. And this is very important for all the students to think and keep working on their skills. I will talk about it a little bit down. And of course, decisions are no longer top-down decisions and all that. And I will talk about the measure for improvements. This is a very important point in this COVID time. Till probably 5 years ago, at least companies like us, when we put people on projects in client space, the way we bill the clients was based on the number of hours they spend, right? It is no longer relevant anymore. So it has become productivity. What is the outcome has become the parameter for billing, and no longer, because we don't know how many hours people are spending and whether it is effective, right? So I'm just going to touch a few things on the fundamentals of I would request the students to think through this. Apart from the job-based skills, right, there are some baseline skills industry is expecting. Of course, the fundamental skills like reliability, honesty is always there. This will never change. But planning, organizing, executing tasks, collaborating, relationship skills, because it is no longer a single world, it is a relationship world. You got to network and get things done. These are the skills which has become very important these days. Because if I can digress a little bit and tell, employability is essentially about whether you have the right kind of skills. Now, there are two types of skills, hard skills and soft skills, right? Hard skills are those functional skills, the technical skills which you have, which give you the job or which you fetch you the job. Now, what has really happened over the last few years and now is that hard skills, the skills which you acquired, has undergone a rapid change. There is a paradigm shift in the hard skills area. Whatever you have learned have become changed and redundant and moved on. So that is no longer going to keep your employability. But what is more important is and more sustainable and more relevant, will continue to be relevant, is the soft skills. And also the hard skills are going to be automated. Whatever skills, if there was a web designer a couple of years ago, we don't need them anymore, right? If there was a on-perm, right, technologies, network technologies, which helped maintain companies' big IT infrastructure, that's no longer needed. Everything has gone to cloud. So the skills what we would have learned earlier has become, those were hard skills. There are people who got jobs with those skills, but is it any more relevant? No, things have changed. But what is expected out of the new workforce is that so this has been a challenge for the HR and academic community. What is needed is, what is constant, what is sustainable is the learnability. You need to keep yourself updated in your areas. You need to ensure that you are employable at any point of time. One of the important things also on employability is that there was a time, probably a decade or 15 years ago, when employability meant that you get the jobs at the time you complete your course, you have some skills, you have a certification, you attend an interview, you get a job, which means that you are employable. And after that, for years, people continued doing the same job with a little bit of incremental changes, and they were able to keep their jobs. It is no longer true. Employability is a skill or a competence or an attribute which you have to not only show during your initial stages of getting employment, but at every stage of your employment. You have to see whether you are employable after 5 years, whether you have to see whether you are employable after 10 years, you have to see whether you are employable after 15 years, because the skills and dimensions change. That is a reality which you have to imbibe, which essentially means how can you do that? You can do that only if you keep yourself updated. So what is the fundamental competence or attributes for that? It is learnability. And learnability means you keep yourself updated with whatever all the changes happening in your area of specialization, update yourselves, upskill yourself, and reskill yourself. You would have heard about this term multiple times. Upskilling and reskilling has become the mantra. Upskilling is enhancing your proficiency in your existing skills, and reskilling is probably moving to a different domain altogether. It is true for the people, employees, it is true for the talent, it is true for the company as well. You may have heard of at least a decade or 15 years before, or even a decade before, you all know that the Nokia was a synonym of mobile phones. It's a great company. Are they still in the top? No. Many of you would have heard about BlackBerry. Is it still there? They are there, but are they at the top? No. Because they didn't keep pace with the smartphone revolution. I'm just telling an example. Similarly, for people, it is true for employees, true for each one of us also. We have to keep ourselves updated. Otherwise, we will lose out. What we will lose out, we will no longer be employable. And another thing I want to tell you is, when I say employability, it doesn't mean that you wait for a company to give you a job. You can create products and services. We need more entrepreneurs, right? We need people who find solutions to the problems we have in the society. For example, I mean, there are enough areas. For example, we are an energy deficient country. We need more experiments in the non-conventional energy resources. We need bright young engineers to be working and seeing how we can exploit the non-conventional energy resources. Have we used solar energy enough? We are a country, tropical country. Have we used it enough? We are doing good, but have we used it optimal? No. We still have energy deficient, right? See, I'm just telling one example in the interest of time. There are hundreds such areas if you can think of. This is where young engineers have to put their mind, create new solutions, and become yourself employable. So when I say employable, it doesn't mean you wait for a company to give you a job. You create companies. A few things which I will touch upon here is some of the critical skills which has been found wanting in when I have been in the industry for the last 20 plus years, 25 years almost. And some of the things across my experience which I found students should be strengthening is fundamentals of your subject and domain. Please note that that is your root. If you are coming from a mechanical engineering or an electrical engineering, or you are even coming from pharmacy, I'm just being widespread in my thought. Ensure that your fundamentals are strong, because that will still be there. The incremental changes will keep changing, which you have to keep yourself updated. The cognitive abilities are important. What the companies are looking for is among their young population, young talents are to interpret data, bring their logical and analytical skills to produce new solutions, not to repeat, right? Understand client requirements, bring in small increments, not like a Big Bang theory, small increments in their work which will improve things. And you would have seen such small incremental things making major changes in the social media, right? You would have read about it. That is what industry is expecting. So whenever you are getting into a job, put your 100% into it. Try how you can make a difference into it with your analytical and logical ability. How you can make that particular output which you are creating more useful for the company, more useful for the client. And troubleshooting and problem solving skills is very fundamental for that. You cannot. There may be set processes and systems in every major company, and you are not there to just repeat it. You can, of course, repeat it in the initial years, but start thinking, how can I make it different, right? These are the building blocks of efficiency and employability, right? So I am not going too much into it because of the interest of time. There was a very good study done by IIM a couple of years ago, what employers value in their MBAs. Even though this is said as MBA, this is relevant for all professionals who are wanting to get into the industry. I'm just skipping it, but I have just put 3 slides which I will touch upon very quickly. As I told you, there are 3 dimensions which came out of this research work, which is important for all students. The knowing dimension, be strong in your fundamentals. Be aware of the developments into your functional space and even in cross-functional space, and keep yourself updated. Learnability is the core of employability. The doing dimension, as I told in the initial said, the trends have changed. We don't want simple thinkers, we want doers, right? So there are quite a few attributes out there. Your communication, how you work with other team members, integrate themselves and bring about a solution. How you recognize organizational realities, right? I want to touch upon this a little bit. Companies are changing. There is a lot of redundancy of talent. People are sometimes laid off. Why they are laid off is because there's unfortunately some sections of employees have not updated themselves, and the technology has changed, and companies are commercial institutions, right? So unless you keep yourself updated, upskilled, you will not be able to keep your employment. So it will be practical. Recognize organizational realities, why organizations are there, what kind of service they are giving, and what skills you have to upgrade yourself, right? And some of these, like taking responsibility and all that, is very critical, right? Being dimension, being confident, continue yourself to keep yourself updated. Learning, as I told you again, learning attitude is very important, and the responsibility of upskilling lies with the employee. Because, as I told in the beginning, the psychological contract has changed. You are there because of your skills, and the responsibility to ensure that you keep up your skills updated is yours. And we are in a very complex and ambiguous world. Things are changing. So some of us, and I'm sure during this COVID world, we would have experienced that. Some of us would have got into a lot of stress. What is happening? I learned this particular thing. This is no longer relevant. Things are changing. Tolerance to ambiguity. This is a word. Tolerance to ambiguity is a very important skill. You got to keep yourself ready to changing things, right? And thinking on feet. And there is a certain theory in the world, and it's a very positive thing. We Indians are very good in it because of our situations. We are very agile. And let me tell you, I have worked in US, I worked in Europe, I'm currently in Singapore. Let me give you this confidence. We are one of the most agile people on earth. Let me repeat it. We are one of the most agile people on earth. Why? Because our situations have been that we have developed that skill. Take it to our advantage. Let us take it to our advantage. Let us believe that we are a great country. We are most agile. Let us use it to our best abilities, right? So some tips, practical tips on how you can enhance your employability in your career. Okay. As I told you, strengthen your fundamental concepts. Encourage, this can also be small projects or things which academic professionals here can think to include in the curriculum, which will enhance the employability of the students. Encourage experimental learning. There may be a certain curriculum which has been created. Try to experiment, give experimental learning. Request your students to come up with alternative views of doing things. Take a domain elective. You may be a general engineering, but take a domain elective, because as we said, technology is cutting across domains. So if you have a domain elective, you stand yourself to become specialized in that area. And we are in an era of specialization. Reskill yourself into the new technologies in any area. Even if you want to do a service, you have to ensure you should be able to know how you get into the e-commerce platform, create your own website, how you sell, how you get your money, everything. So reskill yourself. Cross-cultural assimilation has become very important. We have become much global, obviously. And most of the, you may have to work in different, you may have to sell your product and services in different parts of the world. So some level of cross-cultural understanding and foreign language is it will help you. Action learning, as I said, do research projects, publish your papers, bring new thoughts, be a part of the social online forums where you can contribute. There are these companies like Microsoft and Google and all these companies where they or even these mobile companies which do a lot of new patch upgrades. Give your thoughts and ideas. Be active, contributing, right? And the last but definitely not the least, communication is not English. Communication is conveying ideas, right? So while English is good and PowerPoint is good, that alone will not take you forward. Why I'm telling you this is I have seen a lot of young students joining the companies and thinking that they have done well because they talk good English and good PowerPoint. English and PowerPoint is not what is talent. It is important, but it's not what it is talent, right? So I'm just skipping this. We all talked about it. What is a post-COVID situation? The post-COVID situation is that work ecosystem, our work is that this is the new normal. Virtual companies are real. That is oxymoron. The entire office typology has changed. Digital transformation, agility are the DNA of the new companies, right? So how agile you are, how are you able to get things done over online, like what we are doing now, is what is more important. Productivity measurement, as I told you, has changed. So post-COVID, the future of careers and work, the skills are important. Certificates are important, but skills are more important. If you have the skill in Hadoop, but you have that will sell you more and keep you employable than your certification. It doesn't mean that I'm not saying that you should not pass your engineering certificate, but yes, skills are important. Continuous learning, right? Human-centric skills, as I told you, hard skills keep changing. Your skills, skill sets what you learned will change, but you have to think out of box. You have to have the problem solving skills. You should have the initiative, self drive. These are, because we are in a virtual world, self drive is more important now. You have to reach out. You have to talk to people. You have to showcase your talents, because we are all not staying in the same place. This becomes all the more important now. And I will encourage all of you students to go and look at some of the insights which has come from the World Economic Forum Future of Work, where they were always stressing that human judgment, human ingenuity, human-centric skills have become very important, because that cannot be automated. Everything else can be automated. So whatever could not be automated, your discretionary ability, your skills, your teamwork, these cannot be automated. At least in the next few years, we won't have robots with that kind of skills. Until that time, this will become very important skills. Employability, as I told you, is no longer a static phenomenon. It is in resonance to the labor market changes. Employability is changing from a competence exhibited at the time of joining of the job, and it's going to be an ongoing phenomenon, sustained over a lifetime career. So it has to be, the skills has to be employable, right? So career opportunities in post-COVID world, there are quite a lot, but I just listed down a few, which will become very critical, right? E-commerce platforms. Everybody is going to sell over the online now, any service. So e-commerce platforms, companies are going to need a lot of people. We don't have enough. Digital marketing, obviously. How will you sell? You're not going to go and meet the clients, or you're going to do less and less of that. How are you going to sell your products and services? Digital marketing has become very important. Medical electronics, yes. People are doing surgery. Doctor is in one place and patient in some other place. That's going to be more and more true. So medical electronics areas is going to grow. Health and wellness. Health and wellness has finally become very, very, very important. One of the biggest concerns we have in our companies these days is how to maintain our workforce healthy. Pharma, nature, energy sector, all these are going to throw up a lot of employment opportunities. It is up to you to how you reposition yourself to be serving these industries, right? So this is just a specific IT business scenario, how the traditional spends are coming down, and it's going to be more and more digital. And there are a lot of digital roles. I don't need to show you this. This is specific to IT industry, but I don't want to really emphasize this area because there are other industries, fundamental industries, where there are a lot of skills to be learned. Ultimately, as I just, I know I have overrun my time, but I just want to end with this. All this was taught to us, our culture, our heritage taught us this long, long, long ago. It is ultimately the devotion to one job which achieves supreme competency. And yoga is not only Hatha Yoga. Yoga is a yoga of mind. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Sir, how wonderfully you have explained the soft skills and hard skills. And we want to hear you for a long time, but due to some time limitations.
Yes.
Sir, I would like to hand over to Nidhi for proposing vote of thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So I take this opportunity to thank all the eminent speakers, especially Mr. Lakshmi Narayan and KV, whom I have been talking for last couple of days. Thank you, sir, for an insight on the employability. We truly understand there should be a perfect balance of a degree, and the right skills is what was rightly said. Because the employability is there, the skills are missing, and that is why employability has gone down. So thank you, sir, and the comment can I give from I am Calcutta and certified by Carnegie Mellon. So this is something we speak everything about you because you've got more than 2 decades of experience into HR. Every gamut of HR, you have done wonders, especially with Infosys. Thank you, sir, for your presence and confirming and addressing the audience. We are equally thankful to our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor R.A. Gupta, sir, who has been kind enough to give us the multiple opportunities to train the students through these kind of platforms. Thank you to Professor Dhirendra Mathur, sir, Tech Coordinator, and Dr. Deepak Bhatia, who had been a wonderful co-host and a coordinator of this event. Ms. Shipra, your last moment entry was amazing. Your speech was awesome and I just loved it. Thank you for your presence. And not to forget, my young and dynamic CEO, Mr. Naman Kandoi, who is again a pass-out from Purdue University, US and Imperial College, London. And he had been always a source of inspiration for these kind of activities on everyday basis with the faculty and the students. Thank you all for this, and not lastly, the ICT Academy, who had been a wonderful support in organizing such events for GIT campus. Thank you all. We look forward to your presence in the next panel discussion, which will be starting in another time. Thank you, sir. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.